We welcome you to another presentation of NN Viking Media as we broadcast this Week 4 matchup between the Buffalo Grove Bison and the Niles North Vikings. The Bisons are 1-2 this season and coming off a big win against Highland Park by a score of 35-7. However, this came after two hefty blowouts against Downers Grove North and Barrington. So opportunities will come at a premium for the Vikings. The Vikings, on the other hand, are coming off a blowout of their own, losing to Schaumburg 12-56 on the road. Despite their recent performance, they begin the year with 2 wins, the most recent being their domination against the Niles West Wolves, 49-14. So, as Niles North tries to rebound against Buffalo Grove after losing that 12-56 game against Schaumburg, how do you think the Vikings will rebound here?
I think that they're going to have to put this loss beside them and really focus on the things they did well against Niles West and Al Raby and come back with the momentum and use this home crowd to their advantage.
All right, and as they are preparing to treat this home crowd to hopefully a Viking victory, here come your Niles North Vikings. All right, so as the Vikings prepare to take the field here, Chris, what do you think? Just give us 3 pointers on what Niles North should establish this ball game.
They should establish an early lead with their quick offense and get the ball downfield and into field position as soon as they possibly can. They need to stop any momentum on defense that Buffalo Grove can get early, stopping the run, keeping short passes intact or out of Buffalo Grove's hands, and play with the momentum they have. They're playing after with a home crowd after seeing a big win the last time they were here. So let them run with the crowd.
All right, so we're gonna get set to kick this one off. This is Niles North football on NN Viking Media. The kicker, Zukanich, kicks it off to Buffalo Grove, and he will be brought down. The Buffalo Grove Bison will start their drive at around the 38-yard line, 37-yard line it appears. And so here come the Bison. So if you're the Niles North defense, what do you want to establish in terms of, the tone of this ball game?
I would want to establish a very, very short gain kind of mentality. Don't let them get more than 3 yards on any run. Keep them within 3 yards or 4 on any short pass, and don't let them do anything deep. Keep them away from the end zone. Keep them out of field position, and give yourselves a good chance.
All right, Chris's take of view is a pretty smash-mouth defense, but it won't happen here. He's off to the races, and on the very first play of the ball game, Buffalo Grove scores, and the Bison lead by 6 at the moment. What do you think went wrong for the Vikings there?
Well, it looked like a couple of the guys in coverage got crossed up a bit, and there's not much that you can really do about that with that receiver's speed right there, as he just cruised in for the score.
Yeah, even though the safety was placed up top, he could not beat the speed of that receiver. What a nice score by the Bisons. And here will be the kick. The PAT is no good. That one will be shanked. And that'll bring up a Buffalo Grove kickoff as they sputter at the PAT attempt.
Well, let's hope we can see what we saw against Niles West on the first
Yeah.
time that the Vikings got to really touch the ball, which of course was a kick return for touchdown on the opening kickoff of the game. Something like that right here would be very nice for the Vikings and their crowd.
Yeah, so if you guys tuned into our last broadcast, in terms of boys football, Niles North went against their rival Niles West, and we all know how Niles North opened that game with a kick return for a touchdown to open up the scoring, and they never looked back after that, winning 49-14 in front of a wonderful home crowd here at Chuck Poss Stadium. And so Buffalo Grove will be ready to kick it off. All right, they're going to get set to kick this one off. The Vikings to receive. Signals for the kick. And here we go. The first offensive possession of Niles North on the offense. But a whistle comes on the field. And they're going to re-kick this one. So as they reset, there will be a penalty called on the Bisons. They're going to move the ball back at the 35-yard line. All right, take two. And here's the boot. Not a really good kick here as they take it at the 40, around the 40-yard line, gets brought down at the 45.
Well, a very short kick there by the Bison gives the Vikings some very ideal field position, and after coming off of just giving up a touchdown, this is looking very good for the Vikings to at least get an attempt at reestablishing their momentum.
And although they didn't have to do much, the special teams still got the offense in prime field position. They'll take this one from their own 35, first down. Bland handing off from the shotgun, and a pile of bodies there as the Bison stuff that one up. Brought down at the line of scrimmage, if not more. They'll give him a yard. That will be all, and that'll bring up 2nd and 9 for the Vikings. And that was a short run of 1 yard. We'll see if the Vikings can come up with something bigger here. 2nd and 9, fakes the handoff, and Bland is hit as he throws. Tried to hit that quick screen route, but the offensive line collapsed there, and that'll bring up 3rd and 9.
Yeah, that quick pressure really got into Bland, and he was not able to get off a very firm pass that could get far enough to at least try and do something with that screen.
All right, that'll bring up a 3rd and 9 for the Niles North Vikings. Bland assuring his offensive line as he takes a snap from the shotgun. There it is, it's a pass. Quick throw. And that one towards the sidelines, it looks like from here, is going to be about a yard short. And that estimation is correct. It'll be 4th and 1 on the play. And the Vikings are keeping their offense out there. Ooh, looks like an offsides. Nope. Nearly a neutral zone infraction for the Bison, as Bland almost got alignment to jump. 4th down, it's a QB sneak. Quarterback power play, and that one will be gobbled up by the Bison. A turnover on downs.
Yeah, the Bison clearly saw that there was going to be a run there, and they stuffed him. They stuffed him as soon as they saw which direction he was going, and Bland really had nowhere to go.
Obviously, on that play, the Bisons clearly stuffed that one. Chris, what would you have done different?
I don't really know what you would do in that situation. That's a very tough play call to make, as you're in a position where you don't want to give up good field position, but you're also close enough, and you want to take a little bit of a risk at least to try and get something done.
Yep, and so the Vikings played it conservatively there as they tried running the ball on 4th down, and that conservative play call did not work out as expected. That'll bring up the Bison's offense. Nice gain of about, let's say 2 on the play. Ball on the 49-yard line, nearly crossing into Viking territory. In the shotgun, man in motion. It's number 21, Max Oberman. Oh, and he's gonna break it. He finds a gap, and he's off to the races. No one's gonna catch him. Touchdown, Bisons.
Well, 2 plays, 2 scores for Buffalo Grove, and that is definitely not going to help the Vikings' cause right here. They are not really helping that momentum from the crowd come with, and so far they're going to have to look to dig themselves out of this hole.
So the 4th and 1 failed conversion comes back to haunt the Niles North Vikings, and that PAT will be booted through for a +1 point advantage. That'll make the score 13-0 as the Bison lead the Vikings. So let's try and break down that run, Chris. What did you see went wrong for the Vikings defense on that one, and how did that offensive line create that big of a gap?
Well, originally it looked like a very good situation for the Vikings. They seemed to have closed a little bit of a gap, but the running back really was able to push his way through that, and then he seemed to do a little deke on one of the linebackers, and after that he just had room to run, and he used his speed to really get past them and just get going.
That is the running back, Max Oberman, with a score as ball carrier vision and talent, just raw talent, able to get him in the end zone and past the Vikings defense. Hopefully the Vikings can come up with a score here, preferably a touchdown, in order to rev up this Niles North crowd. Here's the boot. Not a long kick, but not a short one either. He'll take this one from about the 15. Oh, making moves, nearly got out into the open, and that touchdown saving tackle was made for the Bison, and special teams really coming together for the Vikings once again.
Well, that's a really good return right there. He didn't seem to have too much room to run at the beginning, but he found a couple holes, made a couple moves, and got himself out to the 40, giving the Vikings very good field position yet again to start a drive.
Yeah, he found a crease there and was able to take it, even though it was a tiny crease. A nice return there, and very good field position once again for the Vikings as they start from their own 40-yard line. Bland takes the snap. It's a quick screen to the outside. No, it's a pass, a wide receiver pass, and the trickery gets to the Bison. Unbelievable. What a nice play call there from Coach Pistorio.
Well, when you're down 13-0 with just about 5 minutes into the first half, you'd think that something would be coming right there, and Pistorio pulls a nice little trickery out of his book and gets the Vikings down into the red zone.
And boy, did the Bison have that one coming. That one really giving momentum to this crowd, and hopefully the Vikings can feed off of that energy. 3 wide receivers to the left side of Bland. It's a read option. He's going to take it himself, and he's gonna fight his way to about 4 or 5 yards.
Well, not a bad move on the read option right there.
Yeah.
Got him a good good chunk of yardage, about 5 yards right there. So you can't really complain too much from an offensive standpoint right there, especially seeing that they had a little bit of pressure into the backfield.
All right, Bland once again in the shotgun. No snaps from under center so far. A handoff to Jackson. Jordan Jackson, and short little gain there. Not too much to be found for the Niles North running back. Or excuse me, that is Jaden Isaacs, number 5 on the run. So Bland taking the snap. A quick screen to the outside. He's going to try and get the corner, but he's going to be wrestled down out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Or excuse me, the 15-yard line.
It looks like a field goal might be the best option right now for the Vikings, especially being down 13-0. Getting some points on the board will at least shorten this deficit and bring it a little closer for them to do something with.
All right, as Chris said, the Vikings will be opting for a field goal. This one from 21 yards out is a kick. And that one is going to be no good. He's going to shank that one wide left, and the Bison will take over. So how do you assess this Vikings possession? Obviously, they've started with prime field position, but unable to convert.
Well, it looks like they've been kind of unsteady with their play calls. I think that they should maybe establish their passing game a little bit more after they've had some solid success with it. In both drives, they've been able to get some decent yardage. So I think they should establish that and then bring back the run a little bit later when Buffalo Grove is more so expecting the pass.
Yeah, and it looks like Buffalo has a stout run defense, so getting in a little pass plays for the Vikings will certainly help the cause. Another huge run play, and the Vikings' run defense looks a little shanty here.
Yeah, I think that they're a little bit nervous right now. It seems like they're a little bit, their nerves are getting to them a little bit after giving up an early score and then another one compared to their defensive dominance that was on display against Niles West and then at Al Raby in week 1.
And the Vikings taking that Al Raby victory, as well as the week 2 victory against their crosstown rival, the Niles West Wolves. Man in motion, that's Oberman, the running back, number 21. Oh, he's going to spin out, and the Vikings finally stop him. A nice run. Although it didn't really get that much yardage, it was still able to establish that running game.
Yeah, I don't think Buffalo Grove was looking to do anything more than that on that play. They didn't really try and make any big hole for you to really get through. They just tried to power it forward, get a first down, move the chains, and go on with it.
Definitely a smash mouth play for the Bison, looking to establish that running gain and have those Vikings defenders thinking. Another man in motion, that is Max Oberman once again. He's going to take the carry this time, and he's going to be stumped by a pack of Vikings defenders.
That's more like what we saw against Niles West and their really dominant defensive displays. Them just getting into the backfield and really stopping that rush, giving the Buffalo Grove offense not much to do there.
All right, as the Bison get ready to take the field here for this second down. Takes a snap, tries a throw downfield, and it's caught. It looks like it's caught, and the ref does signal a catch. What a nice drawn-up play there, a post to the inside for the Bison, and that'll give them the first down and more.
Yeah, the throw was a little short there, but outstanding concentration and hands by the receiver allowed him to pull that in and make it a really big gain for the Buffalo Grove Bison.
A nice play there, and that'll bring up a 1st and 10 for the Bison. And a speed option. He's going to kick it out to the running back as he fights for more yardage. And that'll be Max Oberman on the carry, the senior. He is 5'7", $150 on the weighing scale, as he gets a gain of 3 on the play. Takes the snap. It's going to be a handoff. No, he fakes the handoff, then pitches it out. A triple option play on that one for the Bison. And Max Oberman once again with a carry.
Well, on these last 2 plays, though they haven't been very huge gains by any means, it's really exposing this Viking defense. They haven't been getting into the backfield as much as they should, and it seems to be hurting them, as we've seen the last couple drives that their plays have just been, they've had tons of time and been able to score.
All right, shotgun snap here for the Bison. Looking for a man. He's going to get his man there. A nice catch there on the slant route. And he'll take it inside the red zone. So some nice intermediate passing for the Bison there.
Yeah, these little passes have been gaining a few more yards for them than you would think, especially this last one, as the receiver was able to find a little gap down the middle of the field and bring them into the red zone.
All right, another shotgun snap here. Or it looks like quarterback checking with the offensive line. Figuring out the pass protection here. A counter play to the right side. There's a flag thrown on the field. Finally brought down by a scrum of Vikings defenders. There's a flag on the field. And that'll be a false start, it appears, on the Bison.
Well, lucky break for the Vikings here, pushes them back a little bit, and hopefully that little extra added pressure on Buffalo Grove can at least help for a stop and help the Vikings' causes.
And that'll set the Bison 5 yards back. And that'll bring up a first and 15 here. 1st and 15 for the Bison. A handoff to Max Oberman. He's going to be brought down at around the 14-yard line of the Vikings. He's going to take that one to the original line of scrimmage, so that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Shotgun snap for the Bison. Quick throw to the outside. Brought down by a host of Niles North defenders. Anderson making the catch there.
Well, you really like to see those short stops in the red zone, because at this point you would think that they would at least be trying to get some kind of score here. But if you can hold them to a field goal here, that's a very good success for the Vikings defense.
All right, that'll make it a 3rd and 5. A short 5-yard gain there on the intermediate pass. Whistles on the field. That'll be a timeout called on the field.
Timeout now is called by the Bison.
Why is that not going? I have camera 1, camera 4 is out, by the way.
So that'll be the first timeout for the Bison as they hold a 13-0 lead over the Niles North Vikings.
Yeah, it looks like they're probably just going to go over a little bit of offensive game plan, probably going to see how they're going to want to attack the Vikings defense in this short field situation. But this also gives the Vikings a chance to regroup and really rethink what they can do to keep the Buffalo Grove out of the end zone.
Most definitely Niles North needing a critical stop here as the Bison are threatening to score here for their third straight possession. So the teams will head out back onto the field in just a moment as the Bison make their way to the field. They're on offense, and it's 3rd and 5, a critical stop needed for the Niles North Vikings. Fakes the handoff. Oh, and he's going to be wrapped up. A nice sack there for the Vikings.
Well, that's just what the Vikings needed right there, dropping them back, forcing them to go for a field goal attempt, and it seems like they'll have kept them out of the end zone for this drive.
And that is Jordan Jackson, running back / defensive lineman, making the tackle there for the sack. And that'll bring up a pretty lengthy field goal here for the Bison for high school standards. He'll kick this one from the 25-yard line. He boots this one. Oh, it's right down the middle. Nearly ran out of gas there on the kick, but he's able to kick it through. And that'll give the Bison a 16-0 lead.
Well, if I'm the Vikings right here, I'm not upset with how that drive ended up. After a big play, the defense being able to stay composed and keep them to a field goal. Not too shabby by the Vikings.
All right, so as we take a quick break in the action, Chris, how's your day?
It's been pretty good, not too busy. Glad to see the weekend. Yeah, it's been pretty nice. How about yours?
Yeah, I'm just pumped up for the weekend. Gonna watch some college football tomorrow, and also the Bears on Monday night.
Most definitely, they're playing the Redskins this week. Hopefully, being able to continue their momentum after Eddie Pinheiro hit that last-second game winner against the Broncos.
You know, I actually drafted Pinheiro on my fantasy team. For some reason, let him go, and now I'm kicking myself in the foot. I'm shooting myself in the foot for that one. But an amazing kick nonetheless by Pinheiro. And as action resumes here on the field, we're going to boot it away to the Vikings. Here's the return. Takes it from his own 15-yard line. Bounces it out. Still looking for a crease. Gets the corner. And he's going to be pushed out. Another nice return there. That one is Millen Pryor, Giovanni Millen Pryor on the return. Just an electric ball carrier there. Had a touchdown on our last broadcast in that game against Niles West. And there he is accelerating to at about the 41-yard line.
Another very solid return by the Vikings right here, giving them, again, very good field position. Let's hope that they can capitalize this time.
All right, so their last 3 offensive possessions started on the 41, 39, and this time the 41 once again. We'll see if they can convert on this nice possession. Nice field position here for the Vikings. As that short screenplay there to the outside to the wide receiver barely gets any yardage, if any.
Yeah, I believe that pass was actually dropped as they had a lot of pressure on that. The Buffalo Grove defense read that play quite well and forced the ball out of the receiver's hands.
So as he drops the ball, that'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Ball still on the 41. Vikings still have a chance to threaten here. Another short pass, another screen to the outside. Twirls around, and he's just walloped by a host of Bison defenders, stampeding their way towards that Viking receiver. And a short gain, if any. Just couldn't find any room here so far against this Bison defense.
Yeah, that's been the story so far for the Vikings. They haven't really been able to get too much of a offensive fire going after last drive even. They had a missed field goal attempt, but they're hoping to capitalize here on the good field position.
Oh, and that's going to be a flag on the field.
There is a flag on the play.
We'll see what the call is. That's going to be on the Vikings. And we'll see what the Bison will decide to do here. And they're going to bring it back. They're going to set that penalty. A substitution mistake there for the Vikings.
I'm a little bit surprised that that the Bison really accepted that penalty, as they would have had just another 4th down there.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that they're hoping that they will get better field position after a mistake by the Vikings.
Bland looking deep, and a nice catch. You're right about that, Chris. They should have just declined that penalty.
Well, that worked out very well for the Vikings, and I would not be complaining if I was Niles North. They got a little bit of a blessing there, and a nice catch.
Yeah, a little instant karma there for the Bison, as declining that penalty would have automatically put the Vikings at 4th down. They would have to punt it away, but instead they accept. And a nice play there from Bland to make that nice throw down the middle of the field, and a nice grab there. That was Jalen Butler with the grab. And boy, is he a story to look at. 6'5" as a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's a big guy, basketball player. Obviously, a very good receiver build, and he's showing off his ability to make some nice catches and some crucial positions right here.
Yeah, normally you don't see those tall, lanky players on the gridiron, but a nice frame from Jalen Butler, 6'5", but he really knows how to grab the ball. He has great hands. We've seen him in practice before. Just an outstanding receiver, and he's pretty much the full package. He's very tall, has great hands, and he has some speed too. Not the fastest guy on the field, but definitely enough to get some separation. So the ball will be placed at the 49-yard line. And Bland looking to throw down the field. It looks like, well, a Viking receiver fell down, but no pass interference call there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seemed like receiver got a little tripped up there, and not much you can really do after that. It seemed like there were a couple guys back there, one Viking receiver trying to go in for the catch, but not placed very well for anybody but I believe that was Jalen Butler to make the catch.
All right, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 10. Shotgun for the Vikings. Running back to his left, that is Millen Pryor. 2 wide receivers on both sides, man in motion. Fakes a handoff, and Bland's going to take it. He's going to run hard there. A penalty on the field. The yellow marker has been thrown on the field. We'll see what the call is. That'll be holding on the offense. And that's a bummer for the Vikings, isn't it?
Yeah, very unfortunate break again after being able to, especially after getting that big 1st down. That is not going to be very fun for the Vikings to have gotten set back like this.
All right, that'll push the Vikings back to the 45-yard line. That'll bring up a lengthy 2nd and 17. Takes a snap. Oh, a nice shovel pass there as he turns it up the field. And I like that gain from the Vikings offense there.
Yeah, not too bad. Didn't get him necessarily back to the line of scrimmage, but nice little short gain. Never hurt anybody, and makes this third down a little bit less long, even though it is still a third and long. Hopefully, Niles North will be able to do something very similar to what they did last time and at least get a first down right here. That would be huge.
All right, so Bland in the shotgun. The running back, Giovanni Millen Pryor, to his right. Trips to the left in terms of wide receivers. Bland looking off the defense, and that one is thrown off target to his check down. Pryor, the intended receiver on the play, and that'll bring up 4th down and 13.
Yeah, obviously Bland was looking downfield, and he couldn't find anybody. Some pretty solid coverage by Buffalo Grove, and he was forced to kind of throw to the outlet, but with a lot of pressure coming in there too, he was kind of forced into making a poor pass.
All right, that'll bring up a punt for the Niles North Vikings. So at 4th and a mile here, here's the boot for Niles North as they'll send it off to Buffalo Grove. Here's the punt. The Bison in hot pursuit, but he was able to get that punt off. Takes a really good Buffalo Grove bounce, and that'll cost the Vikings a few yards of position.
Yeah, that punt got pressured very heavily by the Buffalo Grove special teams unit, and it was forced Niles North to really kick off a high, not very long punt, and that bounce back gives Buffalo Grove some pretty okay field position to start their next drive.
That was Harris Zukancic, 5'10" kicker, as he booted that one. Not the best kick to help out your defense. And a flag on the field. There's some confusion on Buffalo Grove's part. Ref is signaling towards Buffalo Grove, so that'll send the Bison back 5 yards.
Well, cutting away at that field position there, and that should help the Vikings. Hopefully, Niles North will be able to capitalize a little bit more on some less great field position for Buffalo Grove.
Play action there. That one hit the turf before it got into his hands. That'll be incomplete. That is Aiden Anderson, number 17. The intended receiver. He's a junior, 6'2", So he's got some nice height, but wasn't able to use that height to his advantage there as that pass was thrown well into the turf. That'll bring up 2nd and 15 for the Bison. Man in motion, that was Oberman. As he gets the fake handoff, the quarterback there hit very hard on that play. And a short gain. He was tackled by Giovanni Millen Pryor, running back and a defensive back. So he plays two ways, and a very dynamic player for the Vikings to have on their roster.
Well, Niles North right here has a great opportunity to potentially get their first stop, maybe force Buffalo Grove to punt right here, which would be absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, that would be essential to Niles North's success if they can force a punt. But a deep throw! Oh, and it's mishandled that time by Aiden Anderson. And the Vikings, boy, did they catch a break there. He was running stride for stride, but they just weren't able to connect as Anderson drops that one.
Well, they got a little bit lucky there as that pass was just dropped. It was a great throw, and number 17 right there really used his speed to get out ahead. But Niles North not able to bat it or anything, just a pretty clean drop.
So both special teams units out on the field for this play. I'll definitely give the edge to Niles North here as their special teams has wowed us the past few games. That one's going to take a hopper down to the 20-yard line. They'll take it at around the 19-yard line.
Well, that's a very good punt right there by Buffalo Grove, obviously taking a little bit of a roll their way. Forces them inside their own 20-yard line for the Vikings.
So although there isn't anything really special about this ball game in terms of stakes, we got a nice Niles North student crowd here, as well as parents.
Yeah, there's a nice turnout, as there generally seems to be at Niles North, and hopefully the Vikings can really give their fans something to cheer for right here.
All right, so Bland takes a snap. He's going to hand it off. Some tough running there. And that'll be a very short gain.
That play right there can really summarize that Buffalo Grove run defense, as they're able to just get a little bit of a stop right there and just holding off the running back for just a little bit while they end up clogging the hole and just swarming the runner.
That was Jordan Jackson on the previous carry. And this time he fakes to Jackson and Chris Bland. He's able to take it deep into Bison territory. Not quite in Bison territory, but they really are threatening here. A nice run there on the read option by Chris Bland.
Well, Bland gets a nice little hole on this read option right there, and he's able to really use his crazy speed to get in to about the 46, and a great overall run with some great blocking right there.
All right, they'll line up at their own 46. The toss. Oh, and he breaks the tackle. He could go all the way. Oh, and he's just tripped up. Nearly had a touchdown there, but just unable to get free from that last tackle there. I give props to this Buffalo Grove defense.
Well, a good play right there. Nice run. Seemed like he slowed up a little bit and then went back running. But Buffalo Grove, very lucky to get a hand on that foot right there and get a stop.
All right, and a timeout will be called on the field. That is the Bison's second timeout of the half. They have one remaining.
Well, here's a prime opportunity for the Vikings to hopefully get a score as they're inside the red zone, and a touchdown would be quite ideal right here, and that would really take a nice cut into this deficit.
All right, so that'll bring up a 1st and 10 after that wonderful run there. Cuts to the inside, and he's tackled pretty hard there. Landed in an awkward position there.
Yeah.
As he landed on his back there.
Yeah, these straight handoffs haven't really been working for the Vikings. It seems like the read options, or just the options in general, and these jet sweeps have been very helpful for the Vikings in terms of gaining yards and field position. But straight handoffs have not been the way to go for Niles North so far.
As he drops back, Bland looking for the end zone. Looks like there was some tugging there, but unable to get the call there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't head for the corner of the end zone, which obviously the play was drawn up to be. I think he might have actually been trying to get that call, that pass interference. He's trying to really play for it, so I think that might be why he didn't head to the corner of the end zone. But
well, that strategy didn't quite work there that time, and also a mishap there for the quarterback and the wide receiver, and they weren't on the same page that time. That'll bring up a 3rd and 9. They'll have to convert this one. Bland steps out, communicating with his receivers, and he just throws it away.
Yep, nothing to do there. They got lucky that Bland was able to avoid that sack, and there's a flag on the field right here. Curious to see what that is for.
Bland, obviously a Michael Vick-esque type of player, able to get that one, bounce it out to the outside, escape the pocket there as things collapsed, but he still couldn't find a wide receiver to throw to. That'll bring up 4th and 9. As it looks like the Vikings will stay out on the field. This time, shotgun, empty shotgun, no running backs in the backfield. 5 wideouts. Here's a snap, throw, and it is dropped, incomplete. And once again, this has been the theme of the entire ball game. The Vikings could not convert on prime field position.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate for the Vikings. I think that they should be utilizing Bland's arm and their receiver's speed to get downfield a little bit more versus playing the short game. But there may be some other factors keeping them from doing that or that may deter them from that. So we will kind of see this more as the game plays out.
Yeah, as these two teams start to feel out each other, I feel like the Vikings would benefit most if they were to go to their top wideout, Jalen Butler, just let Bland, his cannon arm, just sling it out to Butler, who can hopefully come down with those jump balls.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to see a bunch of deep passes in an offense, but scattering them in a little bit pretty decently and maybe mixing them up with some nice out routes will at least free up the close game too. Free up for some short passes, free up for some inside handoffs so that you don't have to keep going back to the same few plays to get some key yardage.
Yeah, I would like to say that I do agree with the Coach Pistorio's strategy of, just kind of a West Coast offense, just short intermediate passes to kind of make this Bison's defense chase you. But as they have shown, they've done a very good job closing in from sideline to sideline, as you can see that speed from the Bison defense. And I would say it's kind of lacking a little spice, and that spice is a deep throw from Bland. Hopefully he could utilize these Vikings receivers who are pretty talented, to say the least.
Well, Josh, I couldn't agree more.
All right, and too bad the Vikings don't have the ball anymore. The Bison, it looks like they'll get the ball back. Kind of a reverse jinx there.
Well, let's see how the Vikings deal with this field position right here. This is obviously the best they've started off a drive with, and hopefully they can capitalize on this one with some type of score. A touchdown again would be huge, especially considering the amount of time left in the quarter and going into the half, where they will get the kickoff in the second half.
All right, they've started from the 40, from the 41 on their very first possession, then the 39, and then back to the 41-yard line. And now they're starting this drive at around the 21-yard line. Vikings, you got to score here. There's no excuse for no score here. We'll see if Bland and company can convert. A swing pass to the outside. Millen Pryor with a catch to the outside. Number 7 for the Vikings. That'll get a short gain, around 1 to 2 yards on the play. That'll bring up 2nd and 8.
Yeah, hopefully this play right here will set up something going into the end zone. Nice little pass, or maybe we'll see another little piece of trickery again with this prime field position. But we will see right here.
All right, Vikings with a run play here. Fakes the jet sweep. And that one is Bland taking it down to make it 3rd and short.
Yeah, 3rd and 4 now. Sets up a lot of things that they could do. They could probably take a run to the outside. They would be pretty comfortable with that. They could set up a little short pass just to get the first down, or they could make a nice little throw to the corner of the end zone or onto the inside of the field to score a touchdown right here.
Yeah, the expected play here is to go with an intermediate pass, but they decide to run the ball. Pryor getting to the outside. A nice block. Oh my goodness, what a great block there from that Vikings offense. Just an amazing play there. Those blocks are usually kind of swept under the rug. Usually people don't really pay attention to them, but a nice effort play there.
Yeah, most definitely. And we're going to see how the ball is spotted. I don't know if they necessarily got enough. And it seems like there might be a Buffalo Grove player a little shaken up over here. Seems like they'll stay in the game, though.
Yeah, a slight injury there from that Buffalo Grove defender. As they'll stay on the field, 3rd and 16. Bland rolling out to the right. A nice catch and a little bit of yards after catch there to cap that play off, but it'll still warrant a 4th down for the Vikings.
And they're going to bring out the field goal unit here, try to get something on the board. You would have liked to have seen them get at least a little bit closer, but a penalty set them back a little bit. And now we're going to hope that there are some points on the board for now to at least put the Vikings a little closer into the game.
Ooh, a nice boot there, but it's no good. He had the leg, but he just shanked it off to the right. No good.
Yeah, that's the second missed field goal here for the Vikings, and that lack of getting something on the board has seemed to kind of hinder their momentum and performance so far.
Yeah, this possession, I think it kind of took the life out of this Niles North crowd, as they were expecting a score at least 3 points if you could get away with that. More preferably a touchdown. But they were unable to convert, and hopefully the Vikings defense can come up with another stop, but a disappointing possession there for the Vikings.
Flag on the play.
All right, we'll see what the call is down on the field. Looks like he signaled a false start. Yeah.
Well, that pushes Buffalo Grove a little bit further back, and Niles North hoping that this will help them at least a little bit. And a stop here, again, definitely helps their cause, but if their offense can't turn it into anything, then it's just playing stalemate.
All right, Buffalo Grove's offense looking to jumpstart a nice offensive possession here. Nice throw to the outside. That'll be a nice gain for the Bison. Enough for the 1st down. Looks like.
It'll be 2nd and about 1 to go.
Their third down on 1. Yeah, so nearly got to the marker there. Unable to get the ball past the marker, and that'll bring up 3rd and very short. I would say about 3rd and inches here, as that ball looks to be a bit past the 29-yard line. And a nice completion there for the Bison, and that'll give this Buffalo Grove offense another 1st down.
Yeah, Niles North, the defense looked like they were very prepared for a little run up the middle, but that seemingly short gain right there on the little pass ended up being sort of lethal, as they're now in pretty solid field position with time left to go and a fresh new set of downs.
Looking to his right, finds a man. That's going to be Anderson, who shakes a few tackles. And he's finally tripped up at around the 48-yard line. We'll see if he gets to the 49. Oh, he's going to get only to the 48-yard line.
There is a flag on the play, though, and it seems to be against Buffalo Grove, so we might have and it's a false start, so that'll bring them back quite a bit.
So a pretty blatantly late call there from the referees. But nonetheless, that'll really help the Vikings out, as that'll make it a 1st and long.
Yeah, there's been quite a few false starts by the Buffalo Grove offense, but I'm sure the Niles North defense is not complaining too harshly about that.
All right, he was going to look to his left. Ooh, a tough catch there. Looks like he hauled it in. Or a nice gain. That's going to make it 2nd and about 9.
Yeah, the receiver right there did a good job reeling it in, especially with the defensive pressure. It looked like they have been maybe going a little bit more for the receiver than the ball right there, as it could have maybe been swatted away or potentially even picked off.
All right. Ooh, we nearly got a hand on that one, and that'll cost the Vikings. Such acceleration there from Aiden Anderson, number 17, and he's going to take it into the end zone. Touchdown, Bison.
Yeah, and that takes away a little bit of breath from the Niles North Vikings, as now they're down considerable amount more, and that 4-score differential is gonna hurt them a little bit.
All right, so that'll further cushion this Buffalo Grove lead. And if you look at Niles North's defense, it almost seems like they're kind of gassed at the moment.
Yeah, they seem a little bit exhausted right here, as they haven't really been showing the same speed and aggressiveness that we saw against Niles West, and I think that might be hurting them a little bit, as of course Buffalo Grove seems to be a very athletic, very big team, but from what we saw in previous matchups, I feel like the defense definitely can keep up with them on their when they're on their A game.
Well, the scoreboard doesn't necessarily tell the tale of the game, as of now it's 23-0. But Niles North has been able to start their offensive drives with very good field position. As I stated earlier, the first 3 possessions were at around the 40-yard line. That is very good field position if you're looking at the offense, but just unable to convert. And had they converted, the margin would very well be many points shorter in terms of the Bison's lead over the Vikings. They lead by 23 at the moment.
And I think this drive right here would be a great opportunity for the Vikings to really see how Buffalo Grove defends if they really air out the ball. That could definitely help their game plan going into the second half.
Well, from the top of my head, I could count that the Vikings had at least 4 great starts to their drives, but unable to convert. And another nice start to the drive for the Vikings here, as that one will be placed at the 44-yard line.
Yeah, the beginning of that looked a little bit questionable as the ball was bobbled for a few yards, but able to pick it up and kind of use the Buffalo Grove's kind of off positioning on special teams, as they were obviously looking at the ball, to get, again, very good field position at about the 43-yard line.
All right, so the Vikings offense starts at their own 44. Tried to throw that one into double coverage, and that'll make it 2nd and 10. That's an incomplete pass on the play.
Yeah, he tried to thread a needle right there, and it didn't work very well, as there's an incomplete pass. But I like that they're trying to get a little bit more momentum with some throws, especially early in the drive.
All right, Bland in the shotgun. That's going to make it 2nd and 10. Takes the snap, looking for a man, throws it to the screen play. Oh, and it's a fumble on the field. That'll be recovered by the Vikings. Jordan Jackson gives up the ball, but luckily the Vikings are able to recover.
Well, that didn't work out too poorly for the Vikings, as that actually got them a first down right there. That even though the ball got popped out, it was far enough and right to some Viking linemen, actually, to swamp on the ball and get a first down.
Bland fakes again. He's being chased out by the defensive end, and he's finally brought down. That's going to be a sack of about 5 yards on the play.
Well, nothing to do there for Bland as quick pressure kind of really forced him to escape, and still nothing to do in the out of the pocket. So he had to just kind of scramble for as much yards as he could really get.
All right, so that'll put the ball at midfield for the Vikings. 2nd and 15 for the Vikings. Bland checks with his lineman. Back into the shotgun. Takes a snap. It's a fake handoff, and Bland is crushed on that play. Actually loses his helmet. And Bland, he's going to have to sit out for a play here as his helmet came loose.
Yeah, that's always a scary sight, especially when you know that it could be a neck, it could be a head injury. You never want to see that, and Buffalo Grove on that play, they saw what was coming as it's been run many times before, and let's just hope Bland is okay and not hurt.
Yeah, he doesn't look to be shaken up, but he's going to be escorted back to the sidelines. And let's remind you, Bland is not a nobody. I mean, he's a pretty important piece to this Vikings offense, but he's going to have to sit out for a play. The backup, Caleb Swanson, sophomore, he's going to be checked in to play.
Yeah, this is a good chance to see what he can do right here. New face for at quarterback. Maybe see what this new arm can do.
All right, Swanson dropping back. A short check down pass. And that'll actually work out for the Vikings. Great job there, breaking tackles.
And there was a late hit on the by the Buffalo Grove defense, which is going to move them up at least a solid little bit. So not too bad. And Bland is going to be right back into the game. He got cleared and everything, which is good to see.
All right, and Swanson definitely getting a nice stint of experience there as the Vikings move the chains. Not to mention that personal foul will pad that play even more as the Vikings threaten to enter the red zone here against the Buffalo Grove defense. Bland looking to his left. That one's going to be dropped. Jordan Jackson, the running back, the intended receiver, he dropped the ball on that play. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and you obviously don't want to see a drop like that right there. Even if you weren't going to maybe get a huge gain or a first down right there, you'd like to see a little bit of yardage, and especially on a pass that seemed to be relatively easy to catch. You don't like to see the receiver really taking his eyes off like that.
And so that mishap is going to bring up 2nd and 10. Looks to the sideline for the play call. 2 wide receivers to the left of Bland. He looks left. And then he throws right. That one. Oh, it looks like a touchdown. Buffalo Grove defenders waving it off. Well, we'll see the call here. And that will be a catch, but it's out of bounds. So no Niles North touchdown there. That'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Well, a bit unfortunate. I mean, distance-wise, that had everything Bland needed on it. Just got him right over the defensive backs, right to his receiver. But he caught it out of bounds, and that's not going to work out for the Vikings right there.
Yeah, Coach Pistorio able to sense out the perfect time for that throw. That deep pass that we were all looking for here in the booth. But unable to convert there on that pass. Now bring up 3rd and 10. Bland escaping the pocket. He's chased by a few Buffalo Grove defenders. Oh, and that one's going to be off the hands of the receiver and intercepted by the Bison.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate for the Vikings. It looked like the receiver kind of went forward thinking that the number 17 would actually pick it off, but him going forward and then tipping it perfectly into the other defender's hands was just a perfect storm that definitely benefited Buffalo Grove right there.
Well, a junior varsity team that played earlier on the day actually did not score any points. They were shut out by the Buffalo Grove junior varsity team. But hopefully the Vikings here do not suffer the same fate as they have a goose egg on the scoreboard right now. Here's the pass. Oh, and he's going to air it out, and that's going to be caught. And Anderson on the play makes a nice grab, and he's finally brought down at the 38-yard line. Great hook up there.
Well, this Buffalo Grove offense, when they've been rolling, have they been rolling? And I mean, not much that you can do once he's caught that ball, but try and take him down as 17 keeps using his momentum to gain an extra few yards.
All right, here's the next play after the no huddle. Oh, nearly another big play there for Buffalo Grove.
There is
But
a
there is a
flag. on the
flag.
field.
Looks
again.
like, yeah, it's going to be a false start on the offense, actually. So,
Well, that is another break for Niles North, as hopefully that'll push them a little bit further, making it a bit harder for Buffalo Grove to pull something together, especially with 25 seconds left and only one timeout. They're obviously going to be airing out the ball, unless they just want to play down the clock. And
yeah, I wouldn't do that here.
I would probably, if I was Niles North, I'd put a little extra focus on number 17 on the left side of the field, as he's been reeling in footballs left and right.
All right, so they're in the shotgun. Obvious pass play here. Escaping the pocket and taking it to the line of scrimmage. If you look at it, it's pretty much a wasted play there. Actually takes off a few seconds. And although he was able to get out of bounds, not a huge gain there, to say the least.
I'm not upset if I'm the Niles North defense. You can't ask for too much when you're really trying to focus on not giving up a big play, and holding him to behind to a 4-yard gain is fine right there.
Oh, just a dart there, a dime on that play. And that'll give the Bison another touchdown. That's going to put it to 29-0. Huge margin here for Buffalo Grove.
Yep, just open field in the down the middle, and he fires a strike. So again, that passing after a little bit of a run by the quarterback really sets back Niles North a bit further.
And how about it for the do-it-all back, Max Oberman, with that catch, number 21. He's been playing just unbelievably this entire ball game, and he gets a touchdown pass there. The PAT will pad this Buffalo Grove lead up to 30 points. So definitely a four-score lead here for the Buffalo Grove Bison. And it's a must-score here for the Vikings. Hopefully a kick return for a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this plays out. They're obviously going to hope for a kick return right here. That would be very manageable in terms of the clock and just convenience. But I'm going to be very interested by what kind of play call they're going to draw up if they do not score on the kick return, or if they, depending on their field position.
All right, so with 13 ticks on the clock remaining, Buffalo Grove will kick off to Niles North with a 30-point lead. Hopefully, Niles North can make some adjustments and get back in the ball game as soon as they can, because even though it's only the second quarter, or excuse me, the end of the first half really, time is really becoming a factor for the Niles North Vikings. Whistle on the field. And that'll be a timeout on Buffalo Grove. That is their last timeout.
Sort of interested as to why they might have used it right there. I don't know if it could have been that they saw something with their special teams unit, or that they just wanted to talk over some stuff before the kickoff goes on. But we're going to have to see what happens.
it looks like they're kind of, playing it safe, trying to get the guys focused uh, back out onto the field, because you never know if your special teams isn't focused at tip-top shape, they could give up some huge plays. And just like we saw on our last broadcast against Niles West, didn't really seem like Niles West special teams was really laser focused into that game.
Yeah.
Able to Niles North was able to score 3 times on them on the special team side of it. So I guess that timeout will really help the Buffalo Grove Bison here.
Yeah, and even though they have a huge lead, going into the half, a 0 sure feels a lot better than a 6 or a 7.
And here's the boot. They're not going to squib it, as there's a return from Pryor. And Pryor will be gobbled up by a host of Bison defenders. And with 6 seconds left on the clock, how are you going to play this if you're the Vikings?
I don't really... You're in a very tough situation right here, as you can either run out the clock, you can try for a big throw, but I don't really think that that's very possible, as that's a very, very long throw. That's a upwards of 75-yard at least throw for Bland. So I would think that they'd either try and run out the clock, or maybe they'll go for a little bit of trickery right here.
Yeah, Bland, obviously we know he has a cannon arm, but he doesn't have that type of cannon arm. Not a Jay Cutler kind of strong arm quarterback, but it's still a very nice arm for Bland. And that'll run out the first half, and the score will be, at the moment, a blowout, 30, as Niles North has a goose egg on the scoreboard, 30-0. Your score? And we'll head into the half as Buffalo Grove leads Niles North 30-0. We'll be back for the second half. But for now, halftime performance from the marching band as well as the Vikings.
With a hard-hitting yet sassy hip-hop routine, the Niles North dance team is led by head coach Shannon Washington and assistant coach Corey Lev Ruth.
You name it, she's done it. She's the reason that women rap. Maybe now you understand me. Jennifer. Turn up this morning.
ladies. The Vikings will be hosting the Junior Dance Clinic for the next football game the week of September 30th. Please email Coach Shannon Washington to register. Thank you all for supporting the Vikings and the football team tonight. And now, get ready for the Niles Marching Band. First, we're going to get up to the Niles North drum line and their cadence called Viking West. That was the #1 chart cover from the Backstreet Boys. We're about to hear that song, Larger Than Life. Please hear you as we welcome the Vikings marching band to the field. Here is Larger Than Life.
If you recall, last spring there was a video made about me and my upcoming trip to Washington, D.C. to meet with members of Congress and talk about childhood diabetes research. I'm here to give you an update about my journey. I'm Abigail Parrish. My experience with Children's Congress was absolutely amazing. I loved meeting so many other incredible kids and teenagers living with type 1 diabetes, and I loved having the chance to share my story with Congress and attend a real Senate hearing. It was super cool, and I loved that we were able to make a difference in the fight for a cure.
Starting tomorrow, an exciting time for 160 kids across America who will join the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation's Children's Congress in the nation's capital. And a 17-year-old Skokie girl will be among them. She was chosen in a nationwide search to lobby members of Congress to push for a cure for diabetes. Abigail Parrish will represent Illinois. Despite her illness, she's a straight-A student, a member of our high school's varsity tennis team, and the marching band as well. Abby was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at age 7. Abby's dad, by the way, is a content producer here at NBC5 and, in fact, works on this very newscast. He's one happy and proud papa.
One of the main things that we were advocating for on this trip was a 5-year renewal of the Special Diabetes Program, which provides millions of dollars of funding every year for research for better treatments and ultimately a cure for type 1 diabetes. We were also there to discuss one of the biggest hot topic issues in the news today, the rising price of insulin. Plenty of kids and adults with type 1 diabetes aren't able to afford their insulin, and between high insurance prices and the continual jacking up of the actual price of the vials, it's really hard for us to manage our condition. We talked to Congress about those issues in the hope that they will support us in our endeavors. We attended a Senate hearing and testified before the committee about the price of insulin and the importance of renewing the SDP. I also spent a long time meeting with a few Illinois senators, including Senator Dick Durbin, who is a really important person to help us with the renewal. We're waiting for a vote. Hopefully it'll be coming in the next few weeks, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that we will get a 5-year renewal of the SDP so we can go forward with research for a cure. It was super amazing for me to see all of the other kids and adults who are so committed and dedicated and passionate about finding better treatments and a cure for type 1 diabetes. I'm so hopeful that with our efforts and our support from Congress, we will be able to move forward with the treatments that we so desperately need and ultimately discover a cure. That's what I did with my summer. I hope yours was as great and productive as mine was.
Complete with new tennis courts, football field, and track, Niles North has never been more ready to dive into the fall sports season. In this episode, we'll talk about the exciting competitions that make coming back to school after the summer a little bit less melancholy and a lot more exciting. I'm Elliot Parrish. Welcome to the Coach's Corner. For the second year in a row, the football team kicked off their season against Raby High School and won. The score was 7-6. The next week, Chuck Paws Stadium was rocking for the annual Skokie Skirmish. Against Niles West, the Vikings scored a touchdown within the first few seconds of the game off return man Chris Harris. He would repeat that play for another touchdown in the first quarter. The score was 42-0 by the end of the half. North put in their second-string players and scored one more touchdown. The Wolves then scored twice, making the final score 49-14 Vikings. An update on girls tennis so far. They started off the season beating the Palatine Pirates 5 matches to 2. The team took 3rd place at the Niles West Tennis Tournament and later took a road trip all the way to Springfield to the Sacred Heart Invite. There, singles player Abigail Parrish took 5th place. For even more info on the team, senior Alexia Galinsky gave us the inside scoop. So last week I understand you had a match on Thursday, a match on Friday, and a tournament on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's playing up to 5 schools in 3 days. With the schedule that strenuous, how do you keep your energy up?
Well, coffee in the morning is always good. I don't know. I think that we're pretty used to having it. It's my 3rd year on varsity, so I think I'm pretty used to the schedule.
Your team has beat Niles West every consecutive season for the past half-decade. What's your secret to success against that rival?
Well, I just think that we're a better team than West. We come more prepared, and I don't know, our players are usually better every year, and they really have to fight to try and beat us, but luckily we always win.
Dinner, anyone? We asked the school where they grab food near Niles North before running back to the stadium for a game. What is your favorite restaurant at the mall, and what do you like to order there?
My favorite restaurant at the mall is Maggiano's, and my favorite dish to get there is the ravioli.
My favorite restaurant at the mall is Epic Burger because I like burgers.
My favorite restaurant at the mall is Buffalo Wild Wings because I think they have a great, variety of food, and I really like the cuisine there, and I think it's, a really nice restaurant with a lot of great food.
My favorite restaurant at the mall is Nando's because I love their mashed potatoes. They're like made with red potatoes, and they are the best thing on the planet.
I like to go to Domino's because it's right next to my house, and I usually order a pepperoni pizza with mushrooms and salami.
Probably Uncle Julio.
Oh, I love that place.
And just go with the fajitas.
All those places sound delicious. Personally, I would add Blaze Pizza to that list. Hopefully, the recommendations will come in handy as fans stay out late for Friday Night Lights. That's all for now. Thanks for watching the Coach's Corner.
Tonight we're witnessing history at Chuck Paws Stadium. For literally the first time ever, Niles North is playing Buffalo Grove. Go ahead and scour the record books. The only place you'll see this matchup is right here and right now on Viking Media. It's Vikings and Bison in Friday Night Lights.
And speaking of Friday Night Lights, just a nice atmosphere here. You got the marching band playing. You got this amazing turnout, by the way. I looked in the stands, and these bleachers were surprisingly filled by the Niles North students in the community. It's just been amazing. But the result isn't really the one we wished for. As of now, things could get better, but for the most part, I feel like this vibe, this atmosphere, has really cushioned this game so far.
That's true. I mean, there's no better part of fall than watching these football games. But not for the Vikings football team tonight, when on the first play of the game after kickoff, Max Oberman made a return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's what the Vikings did against Niles West in their first home game on the first punt return. But now the tables have turned.
Yeah. But, like, if you were to look at this, like, special teams, I feel like Niles North still has the edge, because if you look at the offensive possessions, I'd also like to point out the first three possessions of the Niles North offense. The first one started at the 41-yard line, the second one started at the 39-yard line, and the third one also started at the 41-yard line. Also, not to mention, the defense made a fumble recovery inside the red zone. So just prime field position for the Vikings for the first half of this ball game, but they've still been unable to at least put some points on the board.
Yeah, it's almost surprising that they haven't scored quite yet, to be honest.
Yeah. And, like, if you were to look at the Niles West game, man, they were putting up points, like point after point after point, touchdown after touchdown. It was unreal, that game, and we all had fun in that game. But tonight's a different story, as the Vikings find themselves in a bit of a hole here, with the score being 30-0 here at the start of the third quarter.
It was 49 points scored last home game against Niles West. The following week they played Schaumburg and lost a whopping 56-12. That puts the Vikings at 2-1 so far in 2019.
And the special teams unit out on the field for the Vikings, they will receive the second half kickoff as we get set to resume play here after halftime. It's the second half, the beginning of the second half. The score is 30-0. All right, we'll be set to resume play here as Buffalo Grove kicks it away. So it will be returned by Jordan Jackson, and he finds a crease. A nice run back. And once again, like we talked about earlier, special teams has been the key for the Vikings. Great kick return there. And although it wasn't as good as their previous possessions, Niles North still able to find some prime field position to start off their drive.
That's true. Chris Harris has been a great asset, well, in receiving and on special teams this year. So he's not always the one to receive when the Vikings get the ball kicked off to them, but watch out on fourth down for him. He's not easy in special teams coverage.
Yeah, very shifty, very agile. And here come the Vikings from the shotgun. It's a design quarterback draw. And Bland running down the sideline. He's going to pick up the first down, it seems. We'll see what the spot of the ball is. And our PA announcer, Mr. Daniel Gregerman, also the choir director here, confirming that it is a first down indeed for the Vikings. As Bland is in the shotgun with three wide receivers to his left, one wide out to the right. And he looks left. And a screen play there. And he's going to be brought down after a 2-yard gain on the play. 3-yard gain, rather. It's going to be 2nd and 7.
Clock ticking down, 11:28 seconds, and if you ever lift weights in the weight room, they call it the Iron Mine at Niles North, you notice the countdown clock going to whenever the next home game is for Niles North.
And they were definitely pumped up for this one as well as any other home game.
You see the sign that says, like, this many hours until we beat Buffalo Grove hanging up on the wall.
I like the confidence from the Niles North Vikings football team. It just hasn't been going their way offensively. They've caught only a few breaks. I feel like Buffalo Grove has had more fortune in this ball game. Niles North just unable to convert on offense. But we'll see if that changes in the second half. Bland with another design quarterback draw. He's going to take this one down the sideline. He could score, but he's finally pushed out at the 10-yard line. Maybe mark that at the 9. But nonetheless, a huge play and a great run there from Chris Bland.
Yeah, he has been a big part of why the Vikings have been very offensively effective in the first 2 games of this season. They beat Niles West, like I said earlier, with 49 points. And it's been over 60% more points scored per game this year than it has been last year. That's a big improvement.
And I like to point out that big improvement for the Vikings. That was really highlighted in their matchup against Niles West. Like, they were just dominant. They were balling out. And that was a really key victory in setting the tone for this season. Hopefully they can come back in this ball game. They've shown that they can score points. They can put points on the board. It's just a matter of finding a break and being able to convert. But so far, this Buffalo Grove defense has not given any points allowed to the Niles North Vikings. Quarterback keeper and Bland is stifled that time by the defensive tackle number 53 for Buffalo Grove.
So, catch our broadcast 2 weeks from today. It's the 3rd home game of the season for the Vikings. It's against Maine West, who has gone 2-1 so far, which is the same record as Buffalo Grove.
All right. And a nice throw, but it's incomplete. The referee waves it off. Nice effort, though, for the Vikings. Now bring up 4th down and goal.
Fourth down, and the kicking has been more accurate for Niles North so far than it has been for their opponent. So it would be smart to bring out the field goal team on this down.
However, Niles North will keep their offense on the field. And given the margin, I feel like this is a great decision for Coach Pistorio, and that'll turn into the first score of the ball game. And it couldn't come at a better time. Touchdown, Niles North.
What this home crowd wanted to see after they got shut out the first half.
And so that score there, very critical in keeping Niles North's hopes alive for staying in this ball game. Hopefully they can knock in the PAT to make it a 23-point game. Here's the boot by Zukancic, and it is good. Right down the uprights, and that'll make it 30-7. Still a blowout in terms of the score, but Niles North has been given hope with that nice offensive possession there. With Coach Patrick Pistorio really gambling on that last possession. It was 4th and goal decided to throw the ball and go for it. And a nice swing pass to the outside gets them the 6 that they very well needed.
So 9 minutes to go. Vikings trailing 23. But sometimes one touchdown can change everything. It sure did against Raby when they only scored 1 touchdown and won in their season opener.
I believe that was 7-6. Am I correct?
Yeah, exactly.
7-6 against Al Raby. Last season they played here for the season opener, and the Niles North took that victory decisively, as kind of began brewing a rivalry between Al Raby and Niles North. 2 very competitive opponents. Oh, and it's an onside kick, and it looks like Niles North recovered it. Talk about gambling from Coach Patrick Vistorio. The last possession, he gambled on that 4th and goal, ended up with a touchdown. This time, the play after, he gambles with an onside kick, and in turn gets the ball right back for Niles North.
With cheeky play calling like that, Pistorio teaches his team to not give up no matter what the scoreboard reads. And you almost never see that unless it's like the very end of the game. But when you never see it coming on Buffalo Grove's sideline, that's a really smart move.
Yeah, and we talked to him on our first episode of Viking Valhalla. If you guys haven't checked that out, it is on the same channel as this game, and then Viking Media. Be sure to check it out on YouTube. We talked to him, and I just love the personality. And he loves to gamble, play, no matter how difficult it may seem. And boy, is he gambling right now. 30-7 the score, but he's showing his kids not to give up. And I also liked his personality. As we talked to him, he seemed very jovial and very enthusiastic. And, this season is going to be a better one for us here at Niles North. And boy, is he shaping the culture here. Man in motion. And he's going to be tripped up on the play at midfield.
That's true. He wants this football team to succeed. Right now, they're moved up in the Northern Division better than 33% of the teams. And they've moved up 20 spots in the rankings of Illinois. That's improvement from being always second to last in the CSL South, them and Niles West at the bottom of the division last year.
And I like their decision to move to the CSL North. They really have more of a level playing field, so to speak, here at the CSL North. As Bland airs it out. Oh, and nearly a diving catch there. And he could not connect with his intended receiver on the play. That's Jordan Jackson. All right, so it looks like the punt team is out.
4th down, 8:12 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Here's the boot. Oh, it's a fake. And that's going to go nowhere. That one's stifled by the Buffalo Grove defense. And very alert play from the Bison. And that's going to give the Bison the ball back.
Josh, you just talked about Pistorio taking gambles.
Yeah.
That was one. And no matter how good a coach you are, you don't win those every time.
Yeah. But, hey, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, and he definitely loves to gamble in these types of situations. But I still admire the enthusiasm in terms of, not giving up. He's definitely showing that through his play calling. That one didn't quite work out for the Vikings, but hopefully they could get back on track. And a pitch to the outside. And he's going to be pushed out. That's Max Oberman once again. With a rush, he is pushed out. That'll make it 2nd and 8.
So, Buffalo Grove is under Coach Jeffrey Vick, and I'll tell you all about it when there's a pause in the game about his wonderful coaching career. But last year, he went 5-5 and had a playoff berth. The Vikings haven't gone to the playoffs since 2015. You've heard this a million times with Marky Goffsky as the coach. So they're still hungry to succeed on a competitive level in the postseason.
And we'd also like to thank the viewers here at Viking Media, especially a certain viewer here. This is the son of math teacher Rick Meyer. His son Michael Meyer is watching tonight's broadcast. We'd like to give a shout out to him as well. We thank you guys for tuning in. And this broadcast has been a blast despite the result, but it's still been fun to provide Niles North football to you guys. Also, a shout out to Mr. Meyer himself.
Incomplete pass downfield for Buffalo Grove. It looked for a moment as though it was caught, but it was not.
Yeah, Max Oberman, the do-it-all running back. He can run as well as catch the pass. He actually has a passing touchdown in this ball game, but that time he was unable to grasp it in. It looked like from this angle, from the booth, that he hauled that one in, but still nonetheless great effort from him. That'll prompt a Buffalo Grove punt here. We haven't seen those too often. And he's going to run, cuts it back. Oh my goodness, the crowd is on their feet. You could hear the stomping on the bleachers that time. And Chris Harris with a return. And a huge return for Niles North, and that sets them up with great field position.
He is always effective when he gets the ball off of a kickoff. He's the one fans will remember who scored 2 touchdowns against Niles West on punt returns. All of those were only in the first half.
So Chris Harris, definitely an impact player to watch.
He scored that half as much as the quarterback did.
So that'll bring up 2nd and 3.
Buffalo Grove has no wins away so far. This would be their first tonight.
And that's going to be a design run for Bland. He tiptoes out of bounds. And that'll give him the first down. All right, and that'll bring up a 1st and 10. And with 6:38 left in the third quarter, should the Vikings score a touchdown here, it'll be much more of a game. And maybe even Niles North could come back to make this game a close one. And here's the run by Chris Bland once again with the read option. A nice gain there.
Bland is versatile on his feet. You don't see him sliding a lot as a lot of quarterbacks do. He fights for every yard, even inching towards the sideline. And that's very helpful in these situations near the goal line.
Yeah, although he is a quarterback, he is a very tough runner. And a tough guy to bring down, really, just by yourself. You're going to need a convoy of defenders to bring that freight train down. And Bland certainly getting the yardage he needed to make this an effective 2nd and 1. Just need 1 yard for the first down here. Harris in motion, number 16, but he hands it off to Millen Pryor, number 7, who spins. Shifty little running back there. And a nice gain, and that will obviously move those chains and bring a first down for the Vikings.
So if they get another first down here, it'll be 4 yards until a touchdown. You saw William Pryor with the carry. Him and 3 other players on this team are also on basketball here at Niles North.
As Bland slides down, decided not to take the punishment there. Wise decision, puts his body first, and he slides down to protect himself.
He's proving me wrong. I'm saying he fights for every yard and then he slides.
Yeah. I mean, he is a tough guy to stop. With that frame, 6 foot.
Ooh.
And man, he's really a freight train. Like, on the screen, on the monitor, it doesn't look like it, but you could feel the energy in person here at Chuck Paw Stadium. And he gets wrapped up on the play there.
Our man, Chris Harris, the running back / punt return we've talked about so much in this game already.
Yeah, just he's like really electric, very electric player here for Niles North. And he's been impacting the game for as long as we can remember this year. And that nice little carry brings up 3rd and 9. Bland in the shotgun. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff. Pryor with a nice block. Oh, and that's going to be a touchdown. Touchdown, Niles North Vikings. And I think that's Chris Harris on the catch.
Chris Harris again, the 3rd touchdown he has scored at home in the 2 home games so far this season.
He is a prime scorer for the Niles North football team. Now bring up the PAT. All right. Oh, they bobble the snap.
It's another fake. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
no good.
No good. That one just bounces harmlessly into the turf. I feel like that wasn't designed. I think that was a little improv from the Niles North special teams there.
Huh.
Yes, the snap was bobbled by the holder and couldn't get the possible 2-point conversion. Although that would half the lead into 15.
So that would not have been a call that the coach would have made.
Yeah. I feel like I saw the holder bobble that ball there, that snap. So that was just, I feel like a poorly executed play there. Tried to do as much as he could with the time that he had, but the pressure got to him too much, so he had to throw it into the turf.
Certainly, we're looking at the clock from the Vikings' point of view, not as something that stretches on into eternity with more opportunities for Buffalo Grove to score, but how much time do the Vikings have for a comeback? With the momentum shift in this game during the second half, 2 touchdowns already in this first quarter, they're still in it, and Pistoria wants his team to know they're not giving up.
Yeah, as Chris and I talked towards the end of the first half, we were kind of scared to see the future of this ball game, but we wanted to see some change from Patrick Pistoria's play calling, and boy did that happen there. We're taking a bunch of gambles, and some of them didn't pay off, some of them did pay off, and ultimately those gambles that did pay off allowed for Niles North to get back into this ball game, but it won't be like that way any longer. Touchdown on the kick return. I think that is Max Olbermann once again, number 21, getting the touchdown on the kick return.
So again, Niles North is 2-1. Buffalo Grove is 1-2. But Buffalo Grove is ranked 23 spots higher than Niles North in the state of Illinois. This is why they're such a well-rounded team on offense and special teams, showing that Chris Harris from Niles North is not the only man on this field who can make a surefire punt return.
Most definitely, Max Oberman able to find his way into the end zone once again. That is his second touchdown. One of them was a passing touchdown earlier in the first half, and the other one was, well, you just saw it, guys. A nice kick return for the Bison, and that'll give this Buffalo Grove team a nice cushion here, 37 to 13.
Oh yeah, the first half, wasn't that like the first play of the game after the punt?
Oh yeah, I guess he scored a hat trick then. 3 touchdowns in this ball game. Just an outstanding performance by Max Oberman, the running back. Do-it-all running back, rather.
Yeah, he's just hoping that college recruiters who are at this game are watching this broadcast. Watch this. It's my all-star game.
Just an outstanding, legendary performance from Max Oberman. Well, Elliot, if you looked at the first half, Niles North, they started their offensive drives with prime field position, but they could not convert on any of them. One of which was so bad. It was so bad that they were at the 21-yard line, at the opponent's 21-yard line. Still couldn't come away with points. But I feel like Coach Pistorio has done a nice job adjusting, playing more aggressively, and that has gotten his team 13 third-quarter points. Oh, he just runs over the defender. He looks like he's knocked out. Probably going to be knocked out of the entire ball game.
That was Jalen Butler, the wide receiver, who's also on the basketball team. He's
another
senior.
Basketball player. Man, these basketball athletes here have been putting on a show for this Niles North football team, starting with Millen Pryor, the running back.
5, 6, 7, and 10. Jaden Isaacs, Jalen Butler, Millen Pryor, and Lennox Monroe. If you watch the Niles North basketball team and the Niles North football team, you see the well-rounded athleticness of these 4 guys.
Yeah, and definitely these basketball athletes transferring over to the football team, really helping the squad out.
Talk about being the big man on campus. Yeah. Varsity sports year-round.
And not to mention, Jalen Butler, not only is he physical with that 6'5" frame, but he can also catch the football, and he has some speed for a 6'5" guy. So just an outstanding player. Pretty much him, I would say, also Chris Bland and Chris Harris. Those are the guys to watch on this Niles North football team. Also, you could add in Millen Pryor in that mix. He's been lights out so far this season.
All right, so Buffalo Grove fans, next week you're going to want to watch your team play Wheeling at Wheeling.
For those tuning in.
The next 3 games for this team are away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 away games in a row for the Bison.
Unheard of.
Wow.
All right, so the Bison are ready to defend here against Niles North. Their offensive attack has been dormant the first half, but they've really livened it up this past half here. Oh, and a nice throw. Oh, and it's nearly caught there. Jordan Jackson, the running back / defensive lineman, plays 2 ways, just unable to make the catch there. And you can see the liability there in terms of Jackson's hands. Also, Jackson coming up. Jackson actually losing a fumble earlier in the ball game. So those hands have kind of been coated with butter for the most part.
That's true. And once you make one mistake like that, it'll make your nerves jump up, obviously.
All right, so here's Bland. Oh, he shakes the tackle. Oh my goodness, extends the play. Oh, but he throws it into a defender. Max Oberman. Oh my goodness. Oh, and a huge block there. That's gonna be a penalty as Oberman takes it to the house. Unbelievable sequence of events here for Niles North.
Tonight you are watching a masterpiece, a work of art in football form, painted by Max Oberman.
Yeah, what an interception there. But it looks like it's going to come back. I think the interception will be granted. It's just that the touchdown won't be granted. Yeah, that huge block, although surely a highlight reel play, definitely costs the Bison a touchdown.
Yeah, that's a penalty that they do not want to make.
And the Bison, they've taken over this ball game, largely in part to the lackluster offense provided by Niles North. I mean, you've had great field position to start off at least 4 of your possessions. I think 5 actually. That started at around the 40-yard line, but Niles North just unable to convert on most of those possessions. Although they have kind of woken up on the offensive end, the momentum has now shifted back to Buffalo Grove. Here's a snap, throws to the left, over his head, incomplete. That's Anderson, the intended receiver on the play. He has a touchdown in tonight's ball game.
So thinking of another great football game, the Niles North homecoming will be October 18th. It's much later this year against Maine East. There will be a parade. Of course, accompanying the game, there will be the City of Lights dance the next day and a pep assembly that Friday in school.
Yeah, definitely a nice Friday night football game to close off the festivities, the homecoming festivities here at Niles North. He bounces it to the outside. Looked like he had nowhere to go, but finds an open lane. And that is number 34, George Chicalis. Sophomore, getting the carry there. That's a gain of 6. That'll bring up 2nd and 4 for the Bison. Shotgun formation. 3 wide receivers to the left. He looks left. Throws nearly picked off by the Vikings. Milan Pryor just punching the turf in disappointment and frustration as he should have had that one.
Yeah, there was double coverage on Oberman there,
Yeah.
which is why he didn't catch the ball. And that's smart, because when you have a player with hands that surefire, that reliable, you need to double team him, even if it means you're not covering the rest of the line as well.
Great defensive anticipation for the Vikings, but this is a quick screen throw, and that'll barge through the Vikings defense. That is Anderson with a catch, number 17, Aiden Anderson. He's been the top receiver so far tonight for this Buffalo Grove offense. A nice gain and a first down.
Buffalo Grove is in 4th place behind Hershey, Rolling Meadows, Prospect. Those 3 teams in their division.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Bison. Takes a snap, hands it off to Chicalis, who is wrestled around, twirled down, and they'll give him forward progress to about the 30-yard line.
Timber.
Just chopping down the wood there as Shikalis was harassed by that defender. All right, so it's now 2nd and 16. 2nd and long. As that run play backfires for the Bison, but we'll see if this pass play will make something happen for the Bison. And it actually does, gets them back close to the original line of scrimmage. So although not a huge play, that'll bring up 3rd and 11. And don't you think that was a nice quick screenplay down the field for the Bison there?
It definitely was. That's one of the things that they have been doing very well in this game so far.
All right, it's 3rd and 12. Takes the snap. Oh, a wide open man. And an easy catch for a touchdown. Defensive breakdown there from Niles North. And that led to a Bison score.
You said an easy catch for a touchdown, and the sideline was just silent. You could barely believe it counted. They made it look so easy. It was like a casual toss, like 15 feet in the air. It was just hanging there for a few seconds.
Yeah, it was almost like they made a truce with Niles North to let them score on that play, and sure they did. The Red Sea parted on that one. Wide open touchdown for the Bison as they kick the extra point, and it is good. 44-13 your score. Well, it's not really looking like much of a game anymore. It was 30-0, but Coach Pistorio, with his aggressive play calling, able to put Niles North in position to possibly come back in this ball game, making it 30-13 at one point. But Buffalo Grove answering with 14 straight unanswered points. That'll give them the 44-13 lead.
That's true. And Niles North got shut out 3 times last season. But a score, even if it's against 44 points, 2 touchdowns looks a lot better than 0. In any division, you're going to have teams, usually just the reality in high school football, that outplay you at a very large level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, like Niles North, they have been struggling, but this Buffalo Grove group has just been outstanding, lights out. They've shown all sorts of things: athleticism, talent, awareness, you name it all. They've shown it. Stout defense, rapid fire offense. This Bison team is on the run, and they're stampeding past the Niles North Vikings tonight. Here's the kick return. Hopefully, the special teams will give them some hope. Oh, and that's a miscue there, huge miscue. Called for the fair catch, but muffed the kickoff, and that's going to end up in the hands of Buffalo Grove.
That adds insult to injury at this point in the game. Any thoughts of a comeback in the stands? Vikings fans watching are pretty much muffled right now.
Yeah, and would you in this situation opt to put your second team, your second stringers in the ball game for Buffalo Grove?
Yes, and I would do that because of the psychology factor. They would be, instead of just exhausted and feeling frustrated like the starters, they would be motivated and fired up watching on the sideline this whole time thinking, I wish there was something I could do.
And Buffalo Grove advances the ball for another first down.
They're knocking on the door again. It's 1st and goal.
Yeah, once again, after one play, after that terrible mistake there on the Niles North kick return game, it's now 1st and 10 for the Bison. Oh, but they're going to run it back, apparently.
Okay, there was a flag.
Yeah, and that will be a false start on the Bison, and that'll bring up 1st and 15.
Still, with the way they've been moving the ball so fast, that's still not a bad situation to be in if you're the Bison's offense. That's still really good field position.
Yeah,
right now.
they're threatening now. The difference in this ball game was Buffalo Grove's defense. Their stout defense was able to counter off all of those Niles North attacks, those potential attacks, as Niles North was threatening at starting their drives at around the 40-yard line most of the time. As Chikalis nearly takes it to the end zone, he steps out of bounds. But yeah, this Bison's offense has been humming, and when they are given great field position, they'll take advantage of it. And that's something that Niles North has not been able to do.
You don't feel the need to air out the ball as much to make highlight reel plays if you're the quarterback for the Bison, because the run game has looked marvelous tonight.
Yeah. And earlier in the first half, they wanted to establish that running game. You don't see normally high school teams do that, but they're definitely committed to the run, and that actually has provided this offense a boost. When you normally consider the running game as a kind of a nuisance to your offensive game plan, or to your offensive game in terms of scoring output, but this game plan, this run-first game plan, has definitely helped Buffalo Grove so far tonight. It'll be 2nd and goal with 3 more yards to go.
Okay, so 12 minutes left in the game, and I would love to share with you the story of Buffalo Grove's coach, Jeffrey Vick. So, he came to Buffalo Grove last year. He came 4 years ago, I'm sorry. He breathed new life into their football program. He took over in 2015 after Mike DiMatteo had a 1-win season. And in his second year, he got 10 wins and went to the playoffs. He's taken this team to the playoffs twice already in 4 years.
And being in the playoffs is something that's really aspired by most high school teams, especially Niles North. Hopefully Coach Pistorio can lead this team into that direction. But Jeffrey Vick has already done it. He's been there, done that, with a 2016, I believe, appearance in the playoffs in his second year. And just a great job by Jeffrey Vick, the head coach of the Bison, to jumpstart this Bison program on the gridiron.
With that said, neither of these teams have advanced past the first game of the playoffs. But still, even if you get to that point, it's quite something to be proud of.
Yeah. And there's really no shame in losing that playoff game just because, the competition in the state is just, there's just so much competition on the field. As Buffalo Grove scores a touchdown there, putting on the hurt against the Vikings. That's going to make it 50-13.
The fans who have been loyal and stayed for Buffalo Grove are loud, living it up right now.
And we could see most of the Niles North bleachers emptied out. But there are still some students. Well, actually, there's many students in the stands so far tonight. Just living in the experience here, going to a Niles North football game. Obviously, the result has been decided, despite having 11:54 remaining in the fourth quarter. But these fans staying in just for the fun of it, and the experience of it as well. 51-13 your score as Buffalo Grove holds this insurmountable lead against Niles North. And to simply state it, it's not much of a game anymore. And if you're Niles North, would you bother to keep your first team in, or would you, put the second stringers in there? Hopefully they get some experience. Which route would you go?
If you weren't thinking put in the second stringers before, now would definitely be the time. You're right, it is the experience factor, but it's also, if you're not going to put them in now when it feels like the game is decided, when will you?
Yeah, very wise words, wisely said. Well stated. So the special teams unit out for both teams. We'll see what Coach Pistoria will do on that sideline. I can see the second string quarterback, Caleb Swanson, has his helmet on, standing right by Coach Pistorio. So we'll see what they're going to do here. Kick return game once again and prominent. A nice gain there. Chris Harris once again popping up. Great job, and he puts the Niles North offense to start at the 40-yard line.
We would like to wish a very happy birthday to our EP, Mr. Henderson.
And a very, very well-deserved shout-out. He's done so much for this program. Took me in when I was a freshman, and he's just been a spectacular mentor, spectacular guy, very hard worker, and just an outstanding guy to be with, to talk with every day in his office. Always very welcoming, and he's a great mentor, and he's really taught us a lot here at Viking Media, as well as the AV Club. And we just like to give a nice shout out to him, as well as a happy birthday. Birthday is on, I believe, Thursday. We won't have a broadcast during the span of that week, so we'd like to say happy birthday to you, Mr. Henderson, and we thank you for everything you've done for us here, as well as Viking Media.
Our viewers can't see it, but we have balloons and streamers, of course in purple and white, on the ceiling in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, just a well-deserved surprise party. We actually surprised him here at the press box. He had no idea we were actually going to do this entire thing, and we happened to do it, and he was very happy, very pleased, and he was just very thankful, just like we are very thankful to be part of this amazing organization, the Viking Media. Okay, here's a nice run there by Chris Bland. He's going to wisely slide down after a nice run. Gain of about 20 plus on that play, I would say.
Bland reminds me, for college football fans, of Notre Dame quarterback Ian Book. He doesn't wait for a receiver to try to get open. He knows he can use his feet without hesitation, that even in the NFL you see so much.
And I like to make a comparison to Kyler Murray. He's a very good scrambler. He has a good arm. And one thing in common that they have, both Kyler Murray and Chris Bland are actually baseball players. They play baseball regularly. Of course, Kyler Murray has chosen to take the path of the NFL as a member of the Arizona Cardinals, formerly a baseball player in college. And Chris Bland also doing the same thing too. So a nice run there, uses his legs, but not to mention he has a cannon arm. He's displayed that several times throughout this ball game. Unfortunately, it didn't come down to many Niles North points, but still a very, very hard-working kid there down on the field in Chris Bland. So a timeout is called on the field. That is Buffalo Grove calling a timeout. That is their first of the half. The score is 51-13.
So let's take a look ahead at the Niles North season. Buffalo Grove, after this, they play at Vernon Hills, then 4 games left after that. Each one of those is a conference game. We don't really know how this new conference will be treating Niles North until those last 4 games of the season. Maine West, Highland Park, Maine East, and Deerfield, which is a very prestigious team.
All right, a look ahead at your 2019 Niles North schedule for football. Nice hard running there from, I think it's Chris Harris on the run. Finally pushed out, number 16 on the play. Very tough running there as they move those chains for a first down for Niles North. So what are you looking to do this weekend, Elliot?
This weekend, this is what I was looking forward to, really.
Oh, this game.
Yeah. I think I'll go out and play tennis.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I always do that. Work a little in the off season.
On the tennis team?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of looking into that sport. I think I'd be pretty good at it.
You would love it. It's fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. You know, I like serving. You know, that's my favorite part because you get to smash the ball onto the other side. You know, catch them looking. Anyways, oh, that's a pass interference call.
That was as flagrant as it comes.
Yeah, and the cornerback there just knows it. It's a pass interference penalty. That'll give Niles North a first down on the play.
Last week, Niles North lost to Schaumburg by a lot. Schaumburg had 56 points, the Vikings had 12. And the JV team earlier today got shut out.
So, Niles North's previous game didn't look too hot. They don't look hot. They don't look too hot in this ball game as well. But they're definitely fighting here. Still couldn't be brought down. That's Chris Harris once again. We've called that kid's name a lot of times throughout this ball game, and actually throughout our season.
So much so that I think his ears are starting to ring.
Yeah, Chris Harris. All right, that'll bring up a 2nd and 6 for the Vikings, hoping to score a touchdown here. Bland in the shotgun. He's going to shovel it out. Turns the corner, cuts back in, still up, and he will score. Touchdown, Niles North. And the remaining Niles North fans here giving him a hand. Mr. Gregerman yelling out touchdown Vikings. We haven't heard him yell that a whole lot throughout this ball game. Only 3 scores for Niles North so far compared to the onslaught that Buffalo Grove is putting on the scoreboard.
Yeah, this is ironic though. This is, 2-point conversion.
All right, 2-pointer.
Yeah.
And that one is good.
This is the 2nd best offensive performance that the Vikings have had so far this season. 21 points. It's respectable.
Yeah, but it kind of like doesn't feel like it because, you know, you've had all these good things going for Buffalo Grove so far throughout the entirety of this ball game, and I just feel like Niles North hasn't really been on the same page offensively. And they could have capitalized on a lot of their possessions.
That's definitely true. But you know who appreciates how good the Vikings offense is right now?
Who?
The cheerleaders on the sideline doing a push-up for every point they score.
It's off screen, but they're doing push-ups here at the track. Lovely display there. As if they were the athletes themselves doing a bunch of push-ups down there on the sideline, behind the sideline rather. And we'll see if Niles North could come up with a stop here. And if they want to have a prayer at winning this game, they're going to have a turnover here. Still a lot of time left, I would say. 8:32 remaining. But time is window closing fast for Niles North. Here's the kicker, Harris Zukanich, to kick it off. Number 25. As he approaches and he kicks it, it's a squib. Not really an onside kick. Oh, and Max Overman making a nice improv there.
You know, that reminds me of soccer, which is played on the same field.
Yeah.
It was like he was trying to score a goal, and he kicked it in between all of the players from Maine West, while the special teams from Niles North dodged to get out of the way. And it turned out to be even more effective than most of their normal punts, even though it was low to the ground and bouncing along.
And that's most definitely true. Special teams, though, it's been up and down for the most part, but it's mostly been up for the Vikings. They've had some nice kick returns from Chris Harris and an onside kick recovery as well to go with it. But that is just not enough to support the offense of Niles North, which has been stagnant for at least the first half, where they scored no points.
So
Jordan Jackson with a tackle.
Buffalo by 30 points, 8:05 and counting down in the fourth quarter.
All right, that'll bring up 2nd and 15 after that loss. Here's a snap. That's going to be a handoff, and he cuts it to the outside. Outside run. And he gets out to around the 30, well, let's say the 28-yard line for the Bison. A nice run outside the tackles. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 2. Or excuse me, 3rd and 5. Time ticking down here as Buffalo Grove is just looking to milk the clock here. Then the shotgun, which is a pass formation, but it looks like a run here. It's okay. So here's a throw. And a nice catch. It's actually a screenplay. Finally brought down after that lengthy run after the catch. I feel like that's going to cap off this game, really.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal run. I would not want to run a track race against him. That's quite a good exhibition of speed.
Flashy run there after the catch on the screenplay. That'll bring up 1st and 10. Or the Bison. The ball is on the 47-yard line of the Bison. Ooh, a nice hit there. And they finish up the tackle.
By the way, it's Elliot Parrish alongside Josh DeVera on Viking Media. Thanks for tuning in.
As Matthew Artejo makes the tackle, the linebacker for the Vikings, number 44. So here we go. It's a 2nd down and 7 for the Bison. Blue collar running there on Buffalo Grove's part, and they are still sticking to that running game, especially because they want to milk the clock here with 5:35 remaining in the fourth quarter.
With the swing way out to the right, that's a route that the coverage in college or the NFL would not have allowed that to be a first down, but I think this is unique because The Bison have never played Niles North before, but they've done a really good job of learning about their opponent and adapting to them to adjust their strategy.
There's a handoff to the outside there. Nice tackle there. Where the Vikings, they'll wrap him up behind the line of scrimmage. The original line of scrimmage, rather. That'll bring up a third down. Or rather, a second down and 12. Also, I'd like to give a quick shout out to my family, the DeVera family, and my parents for tuning into this broadcast, also supporting the Niles North Viking community, and I'd like to thank them, and they've done so much for me, and as well as tuning into this game, they've done so much, and I'd like to say thank you to them, and just giving them a quick shout out there. And that's a quarterback keeper on the play.
My family at the game, my sister and I in the marching band.
Which explains why you were absent the first half. I was with Chris Kensiora commentating. Elliot was fulfilling his duties there as as a member of the marching band here at Niles North. And thank you, partner, for joining me in this second half.
Oh, my pleasure. We look forward to this all year.
Yeah, all year, whether it's football or basketball.
Offsides.
We'll still be here. Yep, that's offsides. Or rather, a false start there on Buffalo Grove with 3:24 remaining in the quarter. That'll backtrack them by 5 yards. 3rd and 14.
Interesting penalty. You could just see that the defensive line was not aligned the way they should have been.
Shotgun formation, 3 wide receivers to the right. And he will be dragged away and sacked. That'll be ruled a sack.
And that was a very, from the booth at least, it looked like a very well-executed quarterback keeper, the fake, but it didn't fool the Niles North defense for a second.
A nice defensive play there, much needed from Niles North, as it brings up 4th and 22. And they're going to keep the offense on the field. For some reason, not really surprised. It's garbage time, really, so why not? 22 yards away from the first down marker. Here's a throw, and it's incomplete, as they couldn't convert that play. And that'll be a turnover on downs to the Vikings offense. They could not convert on that 4th and 66 feet. 22 yards. Could not convert. And that'll give the Vikings a fresh set of downs. 1st and 10 as their offense trots out onto the field.
Just 1 second away from the 2-minute warning. The Vikings want to see if they can do some window dressing with this opportunity.
All right, definitely trying to polish up their offensive game. And it really does need a lot of polishing after that first half performance. But second half, they've definitely improved. Really heavily improved, actually, substantially improved. As they've gotten 21 points to answer Buffalo Grove's scoring output.
So we've talked all game about how great their defense is for the Bison. And there's this slogan, it's almost like a cliche, like, if you want to be a lion, train with lions.
Nice acceleration there by Chris Bland, who is still in the game. first teamers trying to send a message here. That'll make it a 1st and 10. Nice read there from Chris Bland.
Anyway, the Vikings want to look at this as to see and learn from their opponent. How can we improve? And sometimes you can only do that by seeing a team that's more advanced.
Yeah, and I feel like last year they've seen a little too much of that in the CSL South, but this is a very good experience for Niles North every once in a while as they score a touchdown to make it 27 to 51. PAT will make it 51 to 28. Jordan Jackson, the running back, scoring a nice play there from the offensive line, able to create a crease, and Jordan able to run past those occupied defenders.
That was a gorgeous run, and the North fans who are still here are rewarded as we approach like 9:40 at night. That was a beautiful touchdown to watch.
Yeah, definitely staying here till the end. We're in Niles North as a 2-point conversion actually will be put into effect as he bowls into the end zone. Looks like Chris Harris, number 16, once again in the end zone for the 2-point conversion. That'll make it 51 to 29. So Niles North showing a lot of fight here.
Definitely.
And we'll see if they'll try for the onside kick here. Most likely will.
Why not? You have nothing to lose.
Yeah, it's 1:08 remaining, and we're just about ready to close up shop here.
Well, the defense of the Vikings will feel more discouraged after the second half than the offense will at this point. Almost 30 points, 51 to 29. It's a big score deficit, but at the same time, it's nothing to sneeze at.
All right, the onside kick. Too much mustard on that one. And that'll land in the hands of Buffalo Grove. So when you look at next week for Niles North, who do you expect will, shine in that game? You step up in that game.
At Vernon Hills, so far, I think the receiving corps for Niles North, those with big hands who are used to catching basketballs from the team, like Jalen Butler, for example, Giovanni Millen Pryor, who scored today. Look for them to try to capitalize on offensive opportunities during that game.
In the next game for your Niles North Vikings will be at Vernon Hills. It will not be broadcast here on NN Viking Media as Niles North takes on the Vernon Hill Cougars.
So if you're like, I love watching Viking Media, I wish I knew when the next football broadcast was. Well, you're in luck. The final 2 football broadcasts of the season, assuming we don't reach the playoffs, are against Maine West and Maine East. Maine West on October 4th and Maine East
Homecoming.
Homecoming, the 18th.
Yeah, so October 18th, make sure to show up at Homecoming weekend as the Niles North Vikings take on Maine East. That is Maine East. Maine West is earlier on the schedule for the Vikings. In fact, that game against Maine West will be right after the Vernon Hills ball game, and the homecoming game will be on October 18th as your Niles North Vikings take on the Maine East Warriors.
Okay, final score 51 to 29. The Niles North Vikings are now 2-2, and the Buffalo Grove Bison are now 2-2 as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Elliot Parrish.
And I'm Josh DeVera.
You're watching Viking Media.